That was trash.
That was total trash.
Um,
They only had 3 shots in that period, and we lost because
And
they
they were
scored
all
on one of those
4
3
minutes.
shots. Mhm.
They were all in, and they gave up 2 power play goals on 2 attempts. I think it was two for 2, something like that. I haven't looked yet. That was pure, unadulterated garbage.
It was. There is no excuse for that.
Yeah, hey, I didn't get a chance to share any of this, so if you want to share it, please.
Okay. I'm sharing away.
Oh, and here's this. Bobby Schley, this is a guy on Twitter he's a Rangers fan, but he keeps thinking that Tarasenko should be traded to the Islanders. And now that we've lost 4 in a row, our season is slipping away and Tarasenko will be traded. Islanders want to make a trade, so they'll get him on Twitter. And it's all Islander fans propose trades. Yeah, of course. But it doesn't mean that he's going to go. This guy just shakes me up. Oh my goodness. I'm trying not to, I'm upset.
I'm very upset.
Right.
I have no words. Like
36.
We have all of our pieces back besides Shen. We outshoot them, but we still can't win.
Allow them 3 shots on goal in the third, and yeah, that's just. And not only that, now you have, this isn't a trend anymore. You know, this is something that's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have the last 4 games lost by 1 goal, and all of them you were either leading or tied going into the third or late in the third, and gave it up either late or in overtime. And that's really getting to be,
it's disheartening.
Yeah. Kessel gets 3rd star, O'Reilly 2nd, and Hayton the 1st. 3 stars of the game. Yeah. Disheartening is not the right word. I don't even know how we're going to get through this show today. This is bad. They didn't beat the clock. I didn't get to see the end of it. I was dealing with something else, unfortunately. Bunch of clowns losing to Arizona. Unbelievable. Enough to make me stop watching these blank shows. Lost to a bad team. Sickening. Well, I mean, it's going to happen. You're going to lose to teams. Justin Mullen says there's a reason I will never come off my blood pressure medication. Oh man, we got 15 people watching this crap show.
Which is how we're going to make it through this show, after a game like that.
Yeah, John Hefner, Brad Pond, thanks for giving us a little love up for this. You know what? This is embarrassing, disgraceful, like they don't want to play. You know what? You want to know what the issue is, and I know hindsight's 20/20, and I thought about saying something at the pregame, and I kept my mouth shut, and I really should have. Too many changes, right? Mm-hmm. Too many changes. First of all, now you have a really big issue. Bringing Prunovich in, you now have 8 defensemen, not 7, right? The standard is 7. Now you have 8 defensemen. So you're taking away from your forwards, right? Mm-hmm. You're taking away some of that. There's a lot going on here. Can they please stop playing country roads if we don't have the lead, especially when we go on to PK? Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I was a fan of it a little bit in 19 when it started. Mm-hmm. I'm not now, right? I'm not terrible call against Saad. The defender was tired. Yeah, that's happening a lot where guys are getting these tripping calls. Mm-hmm. And it's not. I mean, it happened earlier in the game where there was a tripping call that it wasn't. Mm-hmm.
And both goals were scored on those plays. So
yeah, right. So 2 bad penalties and 2 penalties that probably shouldn't have been. But this is just simply, and I don't know. I'm not going to lay a lot of blame on Bennington, but there is a little blame on him.
There is, but there is obviously a disconnect between the defense and the forwards.
Rob makes a good point. You have to remember Arizona is full of professionals too.
And I agree with him.
And I agree, but at the same time, up to this point, they'd won one game and had an overtime win, right? They had 3 points, right? This is a team.
No, they had one game and an overtime loss. So
yeah, that's
now,
right. Overtime loss. And Lance, here's Lance.
Yeah.
Hey, Lance, if you got time, let me know if you want me to send you a link and I can bring you on. You might help us dissect this debacle. Look, Rob, I get what you're saying, right? But the reason that the Arizona Coyotes won this game is the St. Louis Blues did not play St. Louis Blues hockey. If the St. Louis Blues play St. Louis Blues hockey, they win this game. They played from behind. They too many shots to the belly. Scott Wedgwood played one of his best games of the season. He's a 28-year-old journeyman, right? He was cut from New Jersey. Okay, New Jersey's not one of the top teams. Where is Perron? That's a great point.
I've been saying that for a while, but
yeah, you have, and that's an absolute obvious.
You got to keep in mind he's my favorite player. So if I'm saying it,
oh yeah, I mean Perron is this year's Shin. Right, Perron is this year's Shin for sure. I'm gonna see.
Actually, I would say he's this year's Schwartz from last year.
I thought Shin more disappeared. I'm working on it, bud. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. It'll be on Facebook here in a second, buddy. There we go. I'm trying. I'm dealing with all my things. There we go. So, okay, I just sent it to him, so he'll come on. If he doesn't play if he isn't with OR. I don't know about that.
I also don't like that they were separated. I don't think he comes out of this slump without the person he has chemistry with.
Can someone please get on Perry's case? Who's Perry?
I think he means Perron, and
Perron?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. Perron has disappeared. And he's I mean, he was there at the beginning of the season. But
he was doing great. And then
he was doing great. Okay, Ashley, if you need if you needed a little bit of quiet time.
All right, boys, you go.
See, me and Lance were actually talking earlier today how Lance really loves it where you just let me and him go at it and then you interject at just the right time.
Yeah. Hey guys.
I really love it when she's sitting there and I can tell she wants to say something, but she just gets this little bitty grin on her face, and that's her way of saying I'm really having fun, but I want to say something in a minute. So normally when I see that, I'll say, Ashley, did you want to say something?
I'm just waiting for her to jump in and do what we do. Just tell us to shut up and, hey, it's my turn to talk.
I almost did last show that Lance joined us, but
I could tell you were kind of itching there. I kept thinking she wants to say something. She wants to say something. You just, because you kept leaning forward a little bit, like doing like this now and again. I'm like, she wants to say something.
That's just my anxiety. I rock.
Okay.
Like I had to get on my laptop versus my phone because I was pacing and I was giving people, whiplash from pacing.
Yeah, no, we get it. We get it. Okay, Lance, this is a bad loss, right? I'm sorry. It was a slide, and John Kelly and both him and Pranger said it was sloppy, and that's an understatement. Well, what's happening, bud? What are we missing here?
Well, this team, and I know people know I'm not a big Craig Berube fan, but I can only say things based on the way the team has been coached and what they do. And it was this way with Mike Yeo sometimes, and it was this way with Ken Hitchcock sometimes. And now we got all new players, all new teams since Ken Hitchcock was here. And, it seems like the same problem, but with different guys and different coaches. I didn't get to see the whole game. I just got to see the 15 minutes of the third period. But I went back and watched some of the highlights, and
the lowlights.
Highlights. I want to put that in quotation there. It just seems like that, and Guy, you and I have talked about it. Any team in the NHL can beat any other team in the NHL on any given night. However, with that being said, the Blues a lot of times even since I was a little kid, 5, 6 years old in 75, 76, and they would play a team and they played down to bad teams. And they just can't seem to play well against the Coyotes. I know there's been a couple games over the last 5, 6 years where they've really blowed them out, but there's been a lot of games where this Coyote team is, 30 points behind the Blues, and they come out more hungry than the Blues do. It looked like the ice was bad. And I don't think that's what it was, because Arizona could skate on it. Arizona looked really fast. Arizona wasn't standing around. The Blues did too much standing around in this game and not enough taking the game to Arizona.
I absolutely felt like they, from the opening puck drop, they did not play Blues hockey.
No.
Right? It didn't feel like it was Blues hockey, even though they were getting shots in, and that too many shots were dead here. Right? Now, some of that's on Scott Wedgwood, right? Wedgwood played a pretty good game, I think. And actually, if you look, there were two instances where Bennington got stops that he shouldn't have got. Hey, let's listen to Ryan O'Reilly.
Definitely not. It wasn't kind of the start we wanted to. That happens sometimes when you see these teams at the bottom of the standings. You think it's going to be easier. We kind of, just missing that little jump there that makes all the difference, and we give them confidence. And it's it's a tough league to win in, and we have to be better. We know, every guy in the room knows we can't be doing that. It's a chance to win a hockey game there and get back on track. And it's disappointing, but the energy's it's got to be a lot better. So we'll make our adjustments. And
but Greg said today that he warned you guys about this, and it just seemed like there were too much casual plays.
Oh, absolutely. We had some bad turnovers where we have to be sure, especially when things we don't have momentum and that energy. We have to earn it the right way, and we just got away from it tonight. And there's no secret to winning. We know we got away from our game and adjust. And even myself too. It's so many turnovers in the offensive zone where not coming up with pucks, not making plays, and it's frustrating though. That's my thing I have to improve on and generate more. But as a group, it's got to be a lot better.
Did they outwork you tonight?
I think at times, I think we just made it a little too easy on them, and it's disappointing. There's 2 points there, and even getting to that third, and again we kind of letting a late one, which it is kind of I lost my coverage, and that's my 1-2 to block, and kind of we get through that and get a point. Who knows? We squeak out 2 and we move on, but it's we'll be better. There's a lot of hockey left, and I'm confident we'll adjust and keep moving.
Well, there was Ryan O'Reilly.
Hey, Guy, can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
I hate it. I don't care if it's 10 games in. I don't care if it's 30 games in. I don't care if it's 50 games in. I hate it when a player says there's plenty of time left. There's plenty of hockey left. Because, you keep saying that, and you keep saying that, and you keep saying that, pretty soon there's not plenty of hockey left. And I love the way Ryan Riley takes responsibility.
See, that's what gets under my skin.
Yeah, but a lot of times, Ashley, he's played. I didn't think he had a terrible game tonight.
No, he didn't.
It wasn't a great game, but it was a good game for him.
It was probably one of the best since he's been back from COVID.
Yeah. He looked like his energy was back, and he looked good. And I wish sometimes he wouldn't blame himself.
That's what I'm saying. That gets on my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
Call out the people responsible. Don't take everything and say it's your fault.
Yeah, it's one thing to say we all need to step up, but he doesn't need to say I need to play better. I could have done this.
Or I should have done this better on the boards. No, you did fine.
Yeah,
okay,
I understand what he's trying to do as a leader, but he doesn't need to do it all the time like he does.
Exactly.
Right? And I wish they would get other guys to talk to. Mm-hmm. I wish they would get guys that actually made mistakes and talk to them.
Scandella.
Well, hold on, guys. I gotta first of all, I gotta say a welcome to Jim Bringinger. Jim is a vet like myself. He has his own podcast, Mad Podcast, for Last Word on Sports. We're going to be working. We're going to try and work together. And he makes a comment here. He says that Bad loss for a team that wants to contend for a playoffs this season. Can't have these types of losses. Only solace is Minnesota and Nashville both lost, and I agree with that. Robert Morton says they got sucked into a track meet. Seems to me that the same guys that aren't doing their job, in turn, some guys try to do more, and they should trying to pick up the slack, and that's absolutely. Scandella had another bad game tonight. Scandella needs to get sat down. He needs some bench time. I don't think he will.
And you know what, Guy? You know me. I stood up for him last year.
Yep.
Because I thought for the most part he had a pretty good year. It wasn't great, but it was better than a lot of people were tearing him up for. I can't stand up for him this year because he's deserves people's not hatred, but he deserves the kind of questions people have about him.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't say it's hatred. I don't hate Scandella. There are some times that he's making some good plays out there, but it's inconsistent. He needs to find consistent.
They tried to be. You know what they tried to do tonight, and I don't know if anybody else feels like they tried to emulate the Edmonton Oilers from the last game with those blind passes or those drop passes or those things like that we don't have the skill for, or I don't want to say we don't have the skill for. We don't have the experience for, right?
Yeah, and Berube's system, the way he puts things out there for the team to do and how to play. His system doesn't lend well to that type of style. That's why if you ever see the Blues get into a track meet against a team like the Oilers or against a team that's up and down, he tries to slow it down. And I don't blame him. I try to slow it down too. But when the Blues continue to try those track meets, it doesn't work. It takes them out of their game.
Right. Tommy Elbert says, I feel like or often deflects calling out his teammates by blaming himself. Call him out. Well, I'm sure he does in the locker room, but he's got to stop the I stuff in the press room. Leave it at we. Right? I think it's got to stay with we. When he keeps the we, okay, now he's speaking to the team. But I feel like the second he goes to the I, the locker room goes, oh, wow, I didn't do that bad because O'Reilly says he didn't do good. So I guess I was okay. I think that has a lot to do. I really do think that has a lot to do with it. Or at least I'm starting to feel that way.
Yeah, you can send a mixed message. Now, if he wants to do that when he does play bad, by all means. If he gives up the puck and they go down and score a goal, a 2-on-1, by all means, bring it out. Hey, I was bad on that 2-on-1 break. I was in the wrong position, or I made a bad pass. That's on me. By all means, Ryan, do that. But you don't have to call out people. You can just say our defense needs to be better. We need to be better in our zone. We need to forecheck better. And there's nothing wrong with saying that stuff because that calls everybody out. It doesn't have to call him out. And hey, Ryan, if you want to do that when you really do bad, by all means, buddy, but stop banging yourself up. I thought you were one of the better players tonight.
I mean, he had an assist on both goals.
Yeah,
both goals. Yeah.
I thought his board work was phenomenal.
Yeah.
There were several times that he'd come up with the puck when there were two on him.
He was working hard.
Earl Smith says, I'm sure the guys get a different talk than the media. I'm sure they do, too.
Oh, they do.
But it starts to resonate, right? When you hear the same things.
It's kind of like Pietrangelo used to do that. He would say, it's my fault. I didn't lead the team well. And that just gets on my nerves. I guarantee you, if they talk to Sidney Crosby, sure, when he's not playing well, he'll say, I need to play better. But I would almost bet you he's a little more honest with it and tries to say, hey, we all need to play better. But I thought Ryan had a good game. There were several guys that had a good game. I thought Kyra still looked good. There was a time or two I thought he wasn't in the play, but overall he still looks pretty dang good. And
I was really impressed with Krug's first game back.
Yeah, I was too. I didn't quite know what to expect from him, Ashley.
But I mean, I saw him holding that blue line like he hadn't missed any time. He was doing phenomenal.
And like we all said, last year before the season, I said, watch Falk. He's going to be better. And he was better in his second season with that system because he's been in the same system all his career in Carolina. Same thing with Krug. Watch it when he gets in the blue system. People still eat Falk alive. But man, most nights he's our best defenseman, especially with the way Parayko's been playing. He's Parayko's the overpaid guy. And in my mind, Falk and Krug out there give 100%.
No, Krug, first game back after, I think, 5 games, 21-48 with the goal and 5 shots. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day long.
And you know what? I see him getting 10 to 15 goals and having 40 assists. That's a pretty dang good defenseman.
Well, even
Oh, yeah.
last year on the shortened season, he had, I think it
34
was
assists.
2 goals and 30 assists.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
I think 33 or 34 assists. Yeah,
No, it was 30 assists.
was it 30?
Yeah, flat 30.
32 points. Yeah. No,
That's pretty dang good.
This team is, you know, first of all, they had a litmus test that they more or less passed barely. However, what you're seeing right now is a team that doesn't believe in itself. I'll tell you that.
And they should have had all the confidence in the world getting
They should have, but they
Sundqvist
don't.
back and Krug back.
They don't. And I think they relied on the guys they were missing too much. Oh, Krug's back. We're gonna win now.
Yep.
Sundqvist is back. We're gonna win now. Oh, you know, Husso's back. We got a great backup goalie. You know, that.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, Guy, they know that Jordan Bennington can be a great goalie. Now, you know, right now he's a very good goalie, but they know that he can save some games for them. And there's times where you kind of get that feeling that they're thinking, oh, if I screw up, Benner's going to save me. You know, and you can't have that kind of mentality.
They got to stop thinking that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think once they stop thinking that and try and help Benner out more, Benner will be a better goalie.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was going on in the
19.
earlier season was that they had, you know, Benner. They were helping Benner.
Yeah.
They didn't depend on him, and now they're depending on him, and he can only do so much.
Yep.
Yeah, so here's a good point. Ryan Green says, what does the loss look like this do for morale? Now 4 losses and 1 against the worst team in the league. You know, you're right. I'll tell you what, it makes the Sharks game, you know, I got asked at the pregame, are you scared for the Sharks game? And I said, I wanted to wait. Yes, I'm scared for the Sharks game. We could easily be 5-0 or 0-5, you know, 0-4-1. Right in the last 5.
You got to bring your game every night. You're going to have off nights, but you need most of your guys to be on most nights. And and these losses, hey, was it an exciting game against Edmonton? Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. Was it an exciting game against Carolina? Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. But the Blues didn't give us 60 minutes. You know, that one period where Benner gave up 3 goals against Edmonton in that second period, I believe it was. It wasn't his best period, but overall, it wasn't a good period for the whole team.
So Brad Pond is asking when Braden Shen will be back. I'm kind of learning his voice to text now.
I thought he was talking about the Trolls, to be honest.
I thought he was too.
I think that Shen comes back next game, right? Well, he's skating. He's getting skating time. They'll have a practice tomorrow. They'll probably have a morning skate for Thursday. I don't know right now. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I don't think they had. San Jose didn't have 10 guys on COVID. I think they had 7. I don't think they had 10 because at 10 you can't field a team.
Yeah.
Right, unless they're way under the cap. So I don't think they had 10. I'd have to go back and look. I'm not sure. But it's good. They're going to be a better team. Absolutely. Oh, look at this. Absolutely, Rich. You and me need to get together and do a video and figure out what we can talk about. Absolutely. I agree with that. Marianne says they better have more practice. Oh, Marianne, I got to give you I got to give you a little bit of love for that one, Marianne.
I don't know that they need more practice. I think that they need to have a team meeting and chew each other out.
No, I just.
Well, the way I look at it is this team has got some very good players on it. They can be a very good team when they play their game. But, you know, even though, you know, you heard Ryan say there's plenty of hockey left. Well, you know, even in the first part of the season, you've got to stop these trends. You have to stop the trends, and they have to stop having things happen in the game that continue to kill them. And I know a lot of people I saw online, people were blaming the refs for this game. Well, you know what?
No.
Yeah, that call for Saad, but, you know, it's a penalty in most games. Most linesmen are going to call that. It's, you know, where people like it or not. But you're going to get those too. You're going to be trying to claw back into a game with 5 minutes left, and the other team's going to get a penalty call. So it all evens out. I don't like to ever blame the refs, but this one's definitely not on the refs. This was an
No.
effort by the it just looked like you could tell the Blues were more talented, but you could also tell that the Arizona wanted it more.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree that Arizona definitely wanted it more, and they played harder too.
Yeah.
Um,
They definitely played like the team that was 6-4-2 and not 1-13 or whatever they are.
yeah.
I think they were like 1-12-1 before this
Mhm.
game.
Here's a ridiculous idea for the game against San Jose. It's been done before. Dress 7D and 11 forward. Sit Costin and Scandella. Borch can be an extra forward if needed.
No, but no, Bortuzzo is not a forward. In my mind, he's not even much of a defenseman anymore.
I mean, Wallman would be a better option to play
Yeah.
forward, but
Yeah, I
that's
think
still not
I-
pretty.
that's not. Yeah.
But then again, you can't have 3 of your defensemen be second year or less,
No, it's hard.
right? Because you're talking Wallman, Mikola, and Prunovich being 3 of your 6 defensemen, right? You're going to get ate up.
Or if you do play them, just expect that they're going to make mistakes, and just deal with it and try to teach them and try to get them to learn on the job because, with injuries and COVID and we still got to deal with all that, there's going to be a lot of teams that have to put those young defensemen. And like I said it before, in my mind, defenseman and goalie are the 2 harder positions. Defense is first.
Mhm.
When you come from the AHL or college or juniors,
Mhm.
defensemen have it the hardest out of anybody. That's why you see a guy like Dahlin in Buffalo. He looked good this first year, but it took him a couple of years before he really stopped making those rookie type mistakes. And
Mhm.
we just got to expect it of these guys. We hope it's nothing major, when they do make a mistake, but it's learning on the job.
Mary Ann says that they need a miracle practice. And I know what she's talking about.
I do too. Who do we
right.
play? Who do you play for?
Play for, yeah.
Boston University. Go ahead and do more laps.
Again, yeah. Again.
What's
Yeah,
amazing
I'm
is
with you.
I talked to a guy that knew one of the players in that team, and he said they actually didn't get it. They actually did not get what Herb Brooks was trying to get them to say.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting there watching it. The first time I ever saw it, I thought, he wants you to say you're playing for Team USA, the United States. And the first time I saw it, I'm like, that's frustrating.
Yeah. Right. Actually, so real quick, there were 2 miracle movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a made-for-TV one that came out in 83, 84-ish,
Yep.
somewhere in there with Carl Malden
Mm-hmm.
as
Herb
Herb
Brooks.
Brooks.
Yep.
And then there was the one that came out in late 90s, early 2000s. I can't remember exactly when it came out, but it came out just right after Herb Brooks passed away. Of the 2 movies, which one did you like better if you've seen the 2?
I think they both have their good things and bad things. I think the one that came out in 83, considering what hockey was then and what it is now,
Yeah.
It was a more niche sport. I think that the newer movie it was received better because hockey's more popular than it's ever been. Because like I've told you guys before, when I played hockey in junior high and high school and as a young kid before that, people used to make fun of me. People used to make fun of me because I played hockey. Hockey's not a sport. Now look at how much it's grown.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're both very good movies when it comes to the time that they were made.
I wasn't
Hold on
born
a second.
when the first one came out.
Hold on a second. I don't, because I don't want this to go over you, but this is for Wendy. Okay, Ashley, now you can go.
Yeah, well, Wendy, buddy, yeah. So I take back those nice things I was saying whenever I was watching the Blackhawks because I never taunted you like that, sir. Anyways,
There we go.
the first Miracle movie came out 2 years before I was born, so I haven't seen that one. But the
Youngster, you youngie.
sorry, but the second one I did enjoy.
Oh, you were born in 86.
No, I was born in 85, September of
Oh,
85.
85. Okay.
You were
I
2
thought the
years
first
old. You were
Miracle
2
came-
years old, Ashley, when I graduated high school.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I graduated in 87. So, or better yet, yet the Mighty Ducks and Ty Bennington to the net.
I didn't really have that much issue with Bennington.
No,
I
I
mean,
didn't.
I didn't.
it was
I didn't. You know,
it was
my
a
biggest
whole
issue.
team.
Yeah, this was a team loss. I'll agree with that. I had a rough day, so it was kind of funny to see.
Yeah. Basically, the Blues let Arizona dictate the game. That's what it comes down
Yeah,
to.
well, no, it does. For me, of the two movies, I liked them both. There was one thing that was in the original movie that didn't get put in the second movie, and the second movie kind of played differently. In the first movie, Carl Malden or Herb Brooks at that time is pegging Eruzione to be his captain. You know, at one time he says, when I say Mike, I'm talking directly to you.
Mhm.
When I say Eruzione, I'm talking to the entire team. Because
Mhm.
Eruzione was having issues with that, right? And,
Mhm.
and they came through with that. Well, in the second movie, they made it seem as if he was like one of the last guys to make the team. Where I think that he was always one of the guys that was going to be on the team, right? I can't see your captain, the guy that you named captain, being a guy that you almost cut.
Yeah, I from what I understand, Herb Brooks knew he could be a captain. Herb Brooks knew he was that type of player. And Herb Brooks, like you said, knew he was going to be on the team, but he wanted Eruzione to think he wasn't. He wanted Eruzione to go out there and show why he should be captain, you know, even though Eruzione probably didn't even think he should be captain.
Yeah.
Jose, you're great.
That's terrible,
Yes, it
Jose.
does. Yeah. God. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he gets one of these. Yeah. I never seen the first Miracle movie. Can you even get it on DVD? No, you can't.
Nope.
It's really,
Yeah.
it's not on DVD. It was a made-for-TV movie. It was not out on. It wasn't in the theaters. It was made for TV. And then the 04 one, yeah. So, I never knew there was an original film. Yeah, there was one I want to say it was 84. It was called The Miracle on Ice. Not Miracle. It was called The Miracle
with
on
Carl
Ice.
Malden.
With Carl Malden,
Mhm.
has Herb Brooks. And it also had, I can't remember. I can't think of the guy's. I know his face. He played in the Brady Brides. He was Jan's husband in the the very Brady Bunch, or the Brady Brides. He was that, and he plays the last guy to get cut. Right. The film in, actually it was a 2.5 hour movie, and this is on TV back then, so it was like the number one show that night. But it really went more into how Herb controlled the team, right? Went a little deeper into him that their European route, because that's why they won the gold medal. Say again?
I'm looking it up. It looked like you could buy it off Amazon, but no, you can't.
Yeah, no. I know it's.
Well,
the
I will
license
tell
is
you
out
something
on it.
about the internet. If you look hard enough, you will probably find somewhere where you can get it.
Yeah, but it'll be a bootleg copy. That I do know. And the only place I've ever seen it was on VHS.
Yeah, it's not going to be on DVD.
Yeah, so
You'd be surprised. I've found so many things that you didn't think would be on DVD.
yeah.
You just got to know where to look.
The reason that they won that gold medal, there's two. One was the 56 games in Europe. They were the most experienced team next to the Russians. And the second was, and I tell you what, I think he was a mad genius, scheduling that game a week before the Olympics against the Russians in Madison Square Garden. And he absolutely set those lines up, because the lines, you go look at the lines of that game, none of them match what the lines ever were during the Olympics or during the warm up to it.
Yeah, he did it for one reason.
to overconfident the Russians.
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
He wanted his team to, number one, say, look, this is what these guys are. Look at how hard they work. Look at what they can do when they play together.
Yep.
We can do the same. He knew they weren't going to beat them in that game. He knew they weren't.
Oh, he set the lines up so they wouldn't.
Yeah, he set that they
Right.
weren't even competitive in that game from the time the puck dropped, and
Yeah.
he did it. He did it for several reasons. And it's funny how coaches do things that you sit back and go, "Why did you do that?" Well, he may not have done it with the way you think of why he done it, but he did that to kind of let them know, "Hey, see this team? They may seem like they're unbeatable, even though they play together, but you know why they're unbeatable? They play together as a team. They play the system." And he wanted them to see that. He knew they weren't going to win.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what, so you missed it during the post game. We were talking about body, which member of the team was body parts. And I was talking about who the anus was. Who was the anus of the game today? I don't know. That's a hard one. I really don't know.
Could we use the word rectally challenged? I think that's better.
Well, I called who was it?
You
Sanford.
called Sanford
the weenus. I called Sanford the weenus. That piece of skin
my
that hangs
weenus.
there. The piece of skin that hangs there that no one thinks about and doesn't do any good until you whack it. Right? Wendy, you had to be here at the pregame, man. You had to be here at the pregame. I don't know. Today's the artists of the game, I guess, for me has to go to the Blues penalty kill. Right? To have an 86.6% penalty kill and give up 2 power play goals to a team that was 0 for 25. 0 for 25. And you gave up 2 power play goals on 2 chances. So my arse of the game, and that's going to be a new segment, goes to the Blues penalty kill.
Well, it's
Agree?
better than your
Disagree?
pregame arse of Berube.
Well, yeah, I mean... yeah, well, I mean, it's not that I don't like Berube. It isn't. I don't have that. There's just things I see in his coaching style.
You see, all of my gripes kind of went away because he is making adjustments. So I'm still kind of waiting.
You know what bugs me? I remember when he coached for Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when I go back to my memory of how he coached them and why he was fired, it's so reminiscent of the Blues. Now, he didn't take the Flyers to the Stanley Cup, but he had one really good year with them where I think they won 43 games or 45 games. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
And after that, it was just downhill slowly but surely. And there were several guys on that team that didn't like him. So when I ever say anything bad about Berube, it's because of me remembering what happened in Philadelphia. And I know you grow as a coach. Scotty Bowman grew as a coach from his time with the Blues, with Detroit, Buffalo, all them teams he coached. And, maybe he can grow a little bit. But when I start seeing things that happen of teams he coached before, I start getting a little nervous.
Oh, no, I see that. And that's where, for me, it's the fact that you look at the team that went into the bubble versus the team that came out of the bubble, right? There's too much there. There's too much that makes me wonder where the buy-in got lost, right? Because I even asked Jim Thomas this, and Jim Thomas, I said there was no buy-in. He says, absolutely there was no buy-in. They didn't want to be there. Well, you know what? That's on the coach.
Yeah. Well, I told you back then that there were issues in the locker room, and then Rutherford comes out with it 3 weeks later. Somebody asked him, and on Twitter, he put, there's issues in the locker room. I mean,
right?
When there's issues in the locker room, a lot of times the coach has to squash that, or he's got to do something about it. And he didn't really do too much about it. He and I understand that he's the kind of coach that wants his players to deal with stuff like that internally. But sometimes as a coach, when you see a locker room going a certain way, you've got to step in. Like you were talking about Herb Brooks. If you see the movie there, he was very demanding of his team. But when he come in there and threw all that Gatorade around and got ticked off, his players weren't used to that. They know, oh, he was really hard on us,
Yeah.
but man, he must really be serious now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The other one, so I'm a huge fan of the and I know it's a TV show, but Ted Lasso. And there's a point where they have an older player and a young player going at each other. They hate each other, right? And the young player is having his boys rag on the kit man, the locker room attendant, right? So the older player walks in and says, tells Lasso, hey, this is happening. And Lasso goes, yep, I know. And he goes, well, you're going to do something about it? And Lasso goes, nope, I'm not. Basically, because he was twisting or pushing the older player's buttons. But then late in another episode, as those two are going together, he puts them together on the same table at a benefit. So there's times to interact and there's times not to interact, right? And I think that's what Berube doesn't understand. I know that people out there are going to tell me I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about, and so much other.
I mean, that's just
well,
parenting, though. I mean,
the Blackhawks
yeah.
game tomorrow night.
Yeah.
With
Go ahead,
parenting,
Ashley.
it's the same way. There are some times that
Yeah.
I can hear my kiddos fighting, but I know, hey, they got to learn how to do this. I'm going to let this one go. And then there are times like, yeah, now they're strangling each other. I need to intervene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that concerns me is this team can play great and look like Stanley Cup contenders, with 5 games in a row. We all have faith in them. But they continually to poop the bed, and I will tell you this. I've talked to several NHL players. His style of play is very taxing on the body. You've got to be in really good shape. And I've talked to a few guys, and they said they're not shocked at all. The last 2 years, the Blues have went out of the playoffs quickly because they just look dead. His style of play is hard to keep going for 82 games in the playoffs. It's really difficult. And I'm not saying it's a wrong style because his style got them the Stanley Cup. So
Well,
it's
again,
just difficult.
well, hold on. Again, his style didn't take over
Until halfway.
until the mid part of the season, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'll argue to say that from December, I think 12th when he took over, to about January 7th or 8th,
They were terrible.
he didn't really start coaching.
No.
I
He wanted
don't
to
think
see
that
what he
really
had.
started coaching until they start until they get into that win streak, until they get closer, actually closer to the All-Star break is when he really starts closing.
Yeah.
Starts.
Yeah.
But you see, the
Jose's
problem with
got a
that
pretty
is
good
then
one.
they had that big break before the bubble. Why did they collapse in the bubble if we're going to say that they didn't have it all season?
Yeah, no, and that's another good point. That they had that big break. There's something during that break, and I know like 6 or 7 of the guys had COVID. We don't know what COVID, how COVID reacted. But again, at the same time,
I know how COVID reacted. I got it, and I'll tell you.
yeah,
I'm an older man, and I wasn't playing hockey, but I didn't feel right for 6 to 8 weeks. I felt better after 3 weeks, but I can't imagine these guys getting COVID and having symptoms at all, and coming back and being really good real quick because
But when you look at the period of time, so they don't play. They stop March 12th. They don't play until mid-July.
Yeah.
Right. So there's enough time there. What got failed was the training. There was no training. There was no weight training. There was no, they weren't allowed to get on the ice. But there's other things you can still. These guys rollerblade too.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know what I think hurt the team that year against Vancouver when they lost 4 in a row. Well, remember when the NHL had those so-called exhibition games that didn't count, and the Blues went 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after every game, I kept hearing Blues players say, "Well, we're going to be ready when it means something." Well, you know what? You've got to start playing good now, and they didn't play good at all in those 3 games.
Yeah.
It
was that first game that Kadri with that last second goal that broke the spirit of the Blues. Absolutely. Right. I think O'Reilly is too nice, and Berube needs to insert some mean. I'd be okay with that. Apparently, what the Blues did was crap on the bed on them power plays. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I would say that they looked and nothing against elderly people, they looked very geriatric on those penalty kills.
Yeah, They were not.
They were all out of
They
position.
They came into this game looking at the record and not who the opponent. Looking at the opponent and not going, that's an NHL team against us, right? Because I'll guarantee you this. I'll guarantee you this. You take the best minor league team, which right now is the Springfield Thunderbirds. So they're at the top, one of the top, right? You take that best team and you put them against the Arizona Coyotes in a 7-game series, and I'll take the Coyotes in 5.
I would too. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So think about that. You know, this is the worst team and the best team of the next level down, and I'm still taking that best team. The difference between a team that is 112-1 and a team that is 6-2 and 6-3-2 or whatever our record was going into this is minuscule. Right? I know we sit there and say that they should have beat them. Well, they have the talent to beat them, but you cannot sit there and look at that team and think that they're this. That the distance is this. It's minuscule.
It's up to the coach to set that tone, to let them know that you can't take this team lightly. That's always up to the coach and the leaders on the team. You know, whether you're in practice before the game skating around, you need to let everybody know, hey, you know, we're gonna win this game. We're gonna play our game. And it just didn't seem to come down on ice. And I guarantee you the guys did that. The guys knew that they could beat them if they didn't play their best game, but they still came out and didn't play their best game. To me, this team, with the talent they have, this should have been a 5-2, 4-1 game. Is what it should have been.
I thought it should have been a 4-0.
I thought 4-1.
Yeah,
should have.
But like I said, any team can beat any team, especially when one team is just standing around on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating as Blues fans. You know, if you're a fan of a team, and I'm not calling them out this year because they've played much better, of a team like Buffalo, you expect your team not to play well. But here in St. Louis, we know we've got the players. We expect them to play well.
Exactly. Right. We are a team that, for the most part, other than a couple of seasons in the last 40 years, have been a good team. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you go back, you look at the 25-year playoff streak. You look at, you know, even after they missed the playoffs for a couple of years, they still figured out how to get back in. They still ran another streak of 6 years, 7 years before they missed it. Now they're on a streak. This is a team that, for the most part, we are used to being in the playoffs. We are used to being a team that can get to the second round. Maybe not the third round, but get to the second round. And with all of that being said, and I thought a bold prediction that we were going to win like 6-1. Boy, was I ever the worst case of wrong on that. Yeah, sorry, Chris.
Hey, whenever you think that about a Blues game, you need to really think before you ever put anything out like that, because when I've thought that at times, the Blues have an easy time, or this team's really playing much better than the Blues, they're going to beat the Blues 5-2. I'm normally wrong. The Blues either come and beat the team 6-1, or the Blues lose badly in a game I think they're going to win. So
well, the San Jose game on Thursday is going to be huge, and I don't think San Jose plays tomorrow, though.
I don't think they do.
Let me take a quick look real quick to make sure. No, they don't. So they're off tomorrow. The Sharks play today. Yes, they played the Wild. So they lost. Yeah. They beat the Wild, actually. So the Sharks beat the Wild, and we're going to play the Sharks at home. Sharks are 7-6-1. We're 8-4-2. You know, it's not going to be the cakewalk that everybody, you know, people, oh my God, it's the Shark. Sharks are playing good. It's going to be a tough game. The Blues are going to have to really, really just figure out an identity in the next 2 days and stick with it. Yeah, because we've seen 3 different teams already this season, and we're only 16 games in.
It's all about consistency. You know, the Blues are going to lose games, but if you're consistent, you don't ever lose more than 2 games in a row. The good teams throughout a whole season, and I'm not saying the Blues can't do that in the future, but when your team loses 3-4 games in a row, there's a reason for it. You know, and it's not always the other team. When you're losing 4 games in a row, you've probably got a lot to work on.
I will agree with that completely. Tomorrow night, are you available, Lance?
I should be.
Okay, 8:00 Central Standard Time.
For real?
We are going to do, yes, for real, 8:00 Central Standard Time. Well, remember, it's 4:00 my time now, dumbass. We are going to rank the Central or the Eastern Conference captains, the Metro Division and the Atlantic Division. Think you can be ready for that, Lancer?
Yep.
Right? Take whatever, there's no criteria. So whatever criteria you want to use, Ashley uses the in-season criteria. I look more at the longevity and how, overall, you can come up with something in between.
I basically just look at a tenure of a captain, see what he's done, see what
Yeah.
he's doing presently, see what he's done in the past, see how his team kind of rallies around him. And, I go with points somewhat, but that's very low down on my ledger there. I tend to look at how that his captaincy, how he affects the players around him.
Yeah. For me, like Crosby and Ovechkin are both going to rank really high.
Yeah.
Where I know with Ashley, Crosby's going to rank really low because
Actually, that might be the exception to my rule because he's only played 3 games, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're at. Chris
But I
Lambert
couldn't
agrees
put
it's an identity
Crosby
crisis for
like
the Blues.
below Kachuk.
Well, Kachuk just took, for Ottawa, he's going to be down at the bottom. Well, I think there's one team there that doesn't have a captain too. But, of course, he just took over. So, you can't really, not enough time to tell, whatever. I'm looking, when I look at a captain, I want to look at a player that is both skilled on the ice and a leader off the ice. And a leader off the ice to me is the guy that you see, and I remember this, something fierce. Brett Hull used to do this so much, right? Get back on a play. He'd sit on the bench and he'd be going over the last shift with his line mates, right? And then he'd be telling other people what was going on. He was consistently, what he saw in the game. I really think if Hull wanted to coach, he'd be an outstanding coach.
Brett Hall, the NHL would never let him be a coach because he's so bloody honest.
Yeah.
He's one of the most honest people I've ever met in my life. And, he can rub you wrong, but I will tell you this. I've heard comments in the past, and several years ago, you and I, Guy, talked about this, a certain Blues player that is retired now.
Yeah.
They asked him about a power play, and he made the smart aleck comment of, I wasn't on the power play. I wasn't put on it. I was sitting on the bench, and I don't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
That's not Brett Hall.
No, not in the least bit.
Yeah.
He would have loved today's big boards where they're actually playing the game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he'd have absolutely loved it. Okay, guys, we're pushing that 1 hour mark. What a good show. What a fun show. I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up. Lance from the Drop Hockey Podcast, thank you for showing up on us. We love your podcast. I try and listen to it when I can. Haven't been on it in a while. Maybe I need to get back. Maybe we can do something coming up. I need to do a show with you, just a show with you one night. A recorded show, not a live show, something that we can just, you and me can talk about. We probably can get that done. Ashley Slapshot Jones, you are absolutely my favorite co-host that I've had in a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for what you do. I know that this got you out of your comfort zone, and I appreciate that you were willing to get out of your comfort zone and do this, and then realize that, oh my goodness, it's not as easy as I thought it was. And then
but I'm still here.
That's what that's what I said, and keep doing it. So thank you so much. This is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, for Lance, the Drop Hockey to Scott, and Ashley Slapshot Jones for the BlueNote Fan Report, saying aloha, mahalo. You gotta know we're bleeding blue with you, and we can't wait to see you tomorrow night when we rank the Eastern captains. Hello.
Join us.
Ha.